Welcome back, everybody. We're live here at Starladder Season 12. It's DreamHack Bucharest, and we're getting ready for Team Secret versus Malaysia.
I'm really excited for this match, actually. It's probably one of the ones that I'm least unsure about. Yeah, that's what, I said that right.
Least unsure.
Least unsure. Most sure.
Most unsure. You're right. Most unsure. I was wrong. I messed up. I'm excited to watch the match.
You're too nervous.
Was that clear? I hope that part was clear, at least.
You must be a Team Malaysia fan, then. You're
I
nervous like
do
Ohio,
like a lot of their players, yeah. They've always been performing well at TIs. Ohio's great. KXY is great. Mushi's great. They have such a stacked team. I really like watching them play.
Yeah, they have Kachikemba as well, who, for those who don't know, is Mushi's old prodigy. Used to be very young. I think when he started playing with Mushi, he was like 16, maybe 17. I mean, not that young by Dota standards, but definitely a youngin'. And he was brought up under Mushi's tutelage, and now the student looks to become the master. He's taken over that farming role. Mushi's playing support, trying to make space for the younger generation. It seems like a transition we see from a lot of players, right? Like as they get older, we tend to see players transition more into the support role. Maybe just because they have more experience and they're more comfortable being that shot caller, getting a lot done with less farm. I'm not really sure, but it's an interesting adjustment.
Yeah, I would assume it has to do with game prediction, things like that. You're going to see patterns because you experience more Dota games as an older player. Predicting strategies, seeing ganks, calling team fights, all that good stuff. Whereas the mechanics player, you mostly just have to be good at watching where people are on the map, let other people do the ganks and the space for you, and then from there you can transition into a late game, and they direct you all the way.
It could also, to a large extent, just be a thing about like the greater good, right? Kachikemba might be an incredible solo player, but feels like he's not comfortable at all on support, and then Mushi's like, well, I can actually play support. I need a little bit of practice, but I'm going to be good. It's not like I'm bad at mid or anything, but you can have it because I'll be able to support our team, right? I think when they drafted the team, I don't feel like they drafted roles, but they drafted players, and then they
figure out.
Then they figured out the roles afterwards. They just wanted a really stacked team, and then they found the best way for it to work for them.
So it looks like we're getting ready for the players to join the lobby here. I can't quite see the monitor. How many do we have?
We got 10
all
in.
10.
We might have a bot. Nope, it looks like 10 though.
I think we're pretty much good to go.
Okay.
Should be starting soon.
So this is game one. It's a best-of-3 series. Let's talk about predictions here. We've all said Secret are the favorites. How much do you favor them?
2-1.
So you'd say like 65% advantage?
I think Team Malaysia take a game.
Okay.
So I guess that makes it 67%?
I was going to say 66.6% chance of Secret winning.
Okay.
I think
Maybe
they're less
70.
favorites than Cloud9 were in the last game. Last series.
Yeah, I would say it's closer. Yeah.
I agree with that, actually. And for Secret, it's a big tournament. Like they still have not won a major LAN. They don't have the second place curse yet by any means, but anything less than first just isn't good enough for this roster.
As far as TI though, I think Secret don't. I don't think they have to be nervous about getting an invite.
That's true.
I think they definitely have proven themselves for an invite. For Team Malaysia, however, this could be what puts them in contention with Rave, for example, or MVP Phoenix for the SEA region to get a direct invite.
It at least gives them a case. It's still hard to favor them considering that Rave performed well at DAC, just the overall scale of the event and the fact that they've kept the whole roster together, but it at least puts Malaysia in the conversation. That's the big thing for a lot of teams at this tournament. Like you look at maybe a team like Alliance as well would be another good example where they've had some strong showings online, haven't really done too much with the new roster on LAN. This is their first major LAN together. This tournament is a huge opportunity for them to prove that they deserve a direct invite rather than having to slog it out in the qualifiers. And I believe it's the last major before those invites come out. Red Bull's in early May, and that's when most of the invites are happening, it sounds like, according to Valve. So.
Yeah, and everybody's pretty excited to see how the invites go. But yeah, it's a fair point. Might as well wait for the next big LAN, throw the patch out, throw the invites out, then we can get prepped for TI fully. So definitely very important for at least half of the teams in this tournament about whether or not they guarantee an invite.
You've got some teams like Vici Gaming, Secret, Cloud9, probably IG as well, who at this point, if anyone's getting invited, unless they're only inviting like 2 teams, those teams almost certainly are as well. So for them, it's more just another opportunity to win some prize money to build their case as a dominant force moving towards the event. Well, all right. As for me, I think I guess we'll complete the predictions here. I'm going to go ahead and say it's a 2-1 for Secret as well. I think it is a close series. Wouldn't shock me if Malaysia actually upsets them, but I think Secret are still pretty heavy favorites to take it.
Yeah. And even if whichever team does go down to the lower bracket, I think they have a really good shot at making it through, knocking a couple other teams out before they get up to the top. So.
All right. Well, with that said, Okay. But that said, we're almost ready to go into the draft, but not quite. But yeah, game 1 has just begun, so we'll be hopping in momentarily. I think big heroes that I would keep an eye on, I feel Cinder in last series we saw Batrider was not really a priority banner pick. He did get picked in one of the games, but it wasn't like first overall. I don't think that's the case here. Ohio loves to run that hero. Secret, it's one of their most successful and most picked heroes in this patch, so I expect if we don't see a Batrider ban, he gets picked right away. And I think same for Queen of Pain as well. To me, those are the 2 really big heroes to keep an eye on.
Yep. Both of those are banned already.
Okay.
And Chen. So all our predictions about
Malaysia
which
they don't use that much Chen, at least not when I've seen them. But yeah, Secret loves the hero.
Oh wow, first pick Axe.
All right.
That takes me back a month ago.
One of the Spin Lords.
Yeah. He's significantly worse than he was before in a couple ways. First off, his ultimate threshold is a bit lower, right? I think there was also a nerf to Berserker's Call, was there not? Yeah, if he dies, it doesn't continue to aggro to him, so that's another issue that you have to deal with.
And it doesn't work with Yules while
yeah, you used to be able to Yules and then Call, which was just ridiculous.
But he was really strong at DAC. He had a huge win rate there, and then he had some nerfs immediately afterwards, and it hit him pretty hard in terms of win rate. He's still picked, which was a pretty appropriate nerf. It maybe pushed him from OP territory to situationally strong. But
I think he's still a good hero.
Speaking of OP, the one hero that's out there that it looks like they may not go for, but there's the Troll just lurking. They've been running a lot of Troll Magnus over the past couple weeks. With the Shadow Feed, maybe not the way they want to go, though. See the Shadow Feed come out. Often we'll see a strong support partner for that. They get their Lina. I think normally that's the Kuro hero, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Shadow Fiend's actually one of the biggest picked heroes at the moment for a lot of the teams. I was looking through some of their recent win rates in their recent games, and Shadow Fiend was one of the most picked by far. So I think we'll see him a lot this tournament. He's just all around good, really fast at farming, can get a lot of solo kills in the mid game with Yules, transitions pretty well into the late game. You can go DPS builds, you can go more utility builds, you can be the frontline pusher if you have a mech or something like that. He really fills a lot of different opportunities, and it will be a line pick for Malaysia.
I'm glad to see that first phase picked. I think it was underappreciated in the previous series. It was picked and in game 1 and banned in game 2, I think. But in game 1 it got picked second phase, and in game 2 it got banned second phase.
And it did a lot of work in game 2, even when that line was very poor for Team Tinker.
I think it's an exceptionally good hero.
Well, it looks like we have some fans in the crowd potentially.
But picking it over Troll, I don't know. Like, I still think Troll is a very strong hero. It was banned last series, both games, by Cloud9, I believe. But,
wasn't even touched here. Surely they'll get banned second round.
Sure.
Right? Right? I mean, it's. I see any right click here, and I'm like, obviously you should pick a Troll. It makes sense, right? Synergize the Shadow Fiend, Sniper, Juggernaut, anything, pretty much.
Yeah, for Malaysia so far, it's like really heavy just burst damage here. They have the Blink Call, the follow-up finger, very good pick-off lineup. They haven't picked any carries. They don't have much push to work with. And this lineup does feel like they're all about the Blink Daggers right now. If they don't get them early, they really can't do anything.
But I think Team Secret, they always play Artesian Shadow Fiend, right?
I've never seen them not play it.
And I think they always play Artesian Troll, too. They might have tried S4 once, but I don't feel like it's an S4 here.
Yeah, that's where I don't think we're going to see the Troll.
It really doesn't fit the way they usually build a composition. Like S4 can definitely play Troll, that's not the problem, but it doesn't really play to their strengths as a team and how they usually build up their lineups. I think it's way more likely to see something along the lines of a Storm, even though now Lion and Axe actually both decent heroes, especially Lion, both of them are good against Storm, so could this be an S4 Lina, perhaps, is my question.
I feel like one of the issues with the mid Lina is it does kind of
would
scale off.
I think, right?
Well, but even then, like, if you go crazy in the game and you get 15 kills and 3 deaths, yeah, the game's amazing, but in the mid to late game, you just get beaten down by physical damage in a lot of cases. It's not as reliable. Even if you do get a BKB, if people jump on you, sometimes it'll just be really bad, especially with an Axe. If Axe jumps and he calls you and he spins, like Lina will have a BKB maybe, but she's still taking a lot of physical damage. So, like, I feel like we're seeing more people shy away from Lina in the mid lane, and as we've seen, especially in the last series, it was a support Lina. You just get fast Yules, and then you have all this mana regen to end up being 6-slotted anyways. So yeah, it's like you're still a viable, you can still do that anti-BKB carry thing with Aghanim Scepter, but you don't have to put it on the dangerous mid lane and have like a potential loss at 50 minutes.
How about a Puck for S4 then?
I mean, he's
has
good
not
at the hero.
played any Puck as of late, I don't think. It's always been like Queen of Pain, Storm. It feels like the hero just isn't very popular, as strong as what it used to be, or that more that there's better options maybe.
I think it's nice against Team Malaysia's heroes so far now.
Yep, that's new. Viper pick, okay.
Viper X, so we're looking at just a very like tanky kind of core here for Team Malaysia.
Did get a troll ban. You think we're going to see most likely... I've been seeing a couple teams do more of like a tanky push the high ground lineup thing with like mechs and pipes, kind of like what we expected.
I mean, if you want to go that route for Malaysia, they've been running Razor, so this Viper kind of fits into a similar niche.
True.
They have run Undying. I don't know if you want to go Undying here, but there's no real Tombstone counter as of yet. So
it's a good pick for what Secret's currently working with, though. Secret's lineup is almost all magic damage right now, so if you get a mech on Viper, and then he's got 25% magic resistance from Corrosive Skin, and then you transition that a bit, you're in a really good place. But if somebody grabs a bursty physical damage here, things get a little bit harder for Viper now, because he has to worry about blocking multiple sources of damage, and as long as they get an early advantage, their draft will work out really well, but it certainly looked a lot better before the PA pick.
Yeah, the other hero they like to run if you want to push early is Lycan. That has been a pretty go-to Team Malaysia hero, at least compared to how much other teams are picking it, but with this PA pick, I feel like the Lycan's going to struggle a bit more to get things done in team fights.
And this also means that it's an S4 Shadow Fiend. Should mention that. RTZ, I do not believe S4 will be playing PA. I think it's RTZ's PA.
Okay,
So
yeah, I think you're most likely
that's pretty interesting that they go for this composition. So
I wonder why PA in particular. Do you think it matches up especially well against these heroes?
It's good against Viper, definitely, because you can close the gap. You can reduce PA's attack speed, but PA definitely has a counter against Viper. It's not only the fact that you're jumping on top of him, but if Viper misses, then he's not applying one of his skills entirely. And then you'll get slowed by Corrosive Skin, but if your ulti's on cooldown, like PA can definitely burst Viper down. And Viper very rarely will buy an armor item as well. It'll usually be either stats or a mix of like a mech into an eggs, and there's a big weakness to physical damage. That's probably the better way to kill Viper, other than maybe Pure.
Oh man, taking a page out of Musica's book here from
Yeah.
CSW. Is this a core Shrek?
I assume it will be. It's... well, Pulse Nova is one of the best ultimates in the game, right at level 6. Well, basically between 6 and 11. It does like 100 magic damage per second or something. That's incredible, and it costs 20 mana per second once you activate the ability. So the amount of damage that you get per mana on that ability is ridiculous. And once you get something like a Bloodstone, your mana regen's so high anyways that you basically... It's like you have a Battle Fury, basically. Just by having one skill point in there, you can clear your jungle camps extremely rapidly, and you just move around collecting a lot of farms. One of the fastest farming int heroes that I've seen, at least. So he's going to still have to worry about heroes like PA doing tons of single target burst, but if he does get some good items and has a pretty good early mid game, you could just see them ending the game early. And that's what they've got. Viper is good in the early to mid game. Axe is really good throughout the game, but very strong for initiations early mid. And Lesh, if he gets a gold advantage, he's going to have his second skill, Diabolic Edict, which pushes towers while having team fight potential. So they have a really strong mid game team fight composition right now.
one of the issues with Leshrac, though, is that he's kind of if you play him as a core, he has to be up in your face, right, to deal the damage. And you're doing that against a Shaker, who can just shut you down, right? When you try to run in, you fissure, and then you can disengage or whatever. So they need to synergize it very well with the Axe starting the fight, and then if Leshrac can follow through, they can do ridiculous amounts of AoE damage. Still, this Leshrac needs to itemize against a hard-hitting Shadow Fiend physical damage, a hard-hitting PA physical damage with a pure element from the dagger, and a Laguna Blade. Like,
and the Requiem and the raises. You need to be tanky in every way.
A lot of items.
Their draft is really good for that, Secrets.
It definitely feels like a more one-dimensional draft for Malaysia, where they have to have a good early start. This lineup is not going to play well from behind. No.
I mean, if they can do Axe Call into Split Earth into Lion Stun, you're talking about... I mean, but obviously Secret is good enough. They're going to be constantly worried about AoE disables, so Clockwork is a pretty good pick here because it's going to allow them to initiate and segment the battle a little bit, since Malaysia is going with more of like a 5-man, let's end the game thing. If you can keep that segmented a bit, it might give them a big advantage. Even if Clockwork's going to die for it, I think it'll be worth it in some cases.
So who is that end the game hero? Unless it's a support Leshrac, but that feels pretty weak with the Lion. They both need farm, so...
It'll definitely be a core Leshrac. I can't imagine that would be a support. So either they do Axe offlane and need another support, or it's Axe jungle and they need an offlane. I could see them maybe grabbing something like a Centaur, or maybe they'll do like a... And at some point,
I missed my Pugna, but I gotta agree here.
This is not
Kevin.
the game
I don't think
for
this
it.
is the game for it.
If there's a Skywrath or something like that, it's a Phoenix. So they needed something to heal. I think this is going to be it.
I like that. It's like a pretty well-rounded overall pick. It's ranged hero, gives them some more team fight, can fight pretty early, scales reasonably well with farm.
It's actually a really good Phoenix game. I think that was a very good call here. Destroying the Supernova is very difficult for Secret. They have 3 melee heroes that need to run to the egg first. PA can't even blink it unless she's on top of Phoenix before the Supernova happens. Shadow Fiend has decent attack speed, but, well, Lina might actually be a problem for the Phoenix. The Fiery Soul could help get some attacks off pretty fast, but apart from that, their lineup actually struggles dealing with the egg, and it's a very nice way of breaching high ground. You run in, you use the Supernova, it's time for Leshrac 2's Edict on the tower, it's time for you to get some lightning off if he skills that.
It's a very strong mid-game draft for this team. It feels like overall. Guys, who do you favor as we're getting ready to hand it off to the commentators?
I like Malaysia's draft here a lot. The Phoenix counters the physical damage that was looking scary before.
Sen, do you agree?
I still think Secret are going to win this game because Malaysia needs to play it so exceptionally well, and I think they're going to make a mistake or two. They almost can't afford to make mistakes, I feel like, with their draft.
All right, well, you heard it here. No mistakes or Team Malaysia's in trouble. And with that, we're going to pass it off to our commentator, Zyori. GoDz, take it away.
All right, folks, welcome to the second best of 3 of the day. Team Malaysia versus Team Secret. GoDz, this should be a good one. We don't see these two teams square off too often.
This is Malaysia's also first big showing at a major event. This is a kind of recently formed team as far as the current edition, and they've had some great online results, but it's their first chance to really prove themselves in a LAN setting. And, well, we're going to see what they can do here. A very tough opening opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a little more even matchup than maybe some of the bets would have you believe, but the fans have spoken, and per usual, Team Secret, heavy favorites coming into this one. So
it felt like every TI this Malaysian squad would go to, previously under the name of Orange Esports or Titan, they were always underestimated, though. You go back to TI3, where they went to finish 3rd place, TI4, where they almost scraped into the top 8 in the main event as well. A team constantly just that gets kind of ignored, but then will cause those big upsets and can really take it to top teams. So I would not be surprised to see this go 3 games, and even a potential upset would not be, to me, the biggest shock in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's look at these lanes here. XII, he'll be on the Leshrac in the safe lane, so he'll be farming hard. Mushi will take the line, starting off in the Radiant jungle. Ketchikimba, he'll be on the Viper, rotating towards the mid lane. Johnny, he's on the Phoenix, and that leaves us with Ohio on the off-lane Axe.
Well, for the dire side, Team Secret going to be running Kuroki, playing the support Lina, Arteezy on the safe lane farming PA, S4 going mid on Shadow Fiend, Puppy going to be roaming around on Earthshake, and that leaves Zai in the off lane playing Clockwork.
All right, he'll already start off getting some Creepibrium here, using those power cogs.
Kind of messed that one up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That did not get the... He was hoping to pull in all the melee creeps, and you want the range one to push ahead, but no bueno.
A little unfortunate. So LD mentioned Musica playing that carry Lesh, and that's actually pretty fresh in my memory as well. I remember casting that game. What do you think about the core Lesh, especially in the context of this game here?
A lot of damage output. It's going to be entirely built around keeping him alive, and that's where you've got your mech buyer in the Viper. You've got an Axe who his blink timing is going to be very important for this team. So I imagine that's what Malaysia are thinking by putting the Phoenix top to support the Axe to guarantee he can have some decent farm, because without an Axe Blink Dagger, this Leshrac will not stand a chance of dealing out damage in a fight.
Yeah, definitely. Arteezy getting not as much space as he'd like. This creep wave going to push into the tower. Only 1 CS right now. Still plenty of room to recover for him. And what do we expect out of this mid lane? Viper versus Shadow Fiend. Well, S4 be off to a little bit of a slow start, though 4-0 already. Doing all right, getting over that first hurdle.
Yeah, first couple creep waves, first 2 minutes, it's Viper favored, but as SF gets levels, it kind of evens out, and then SF takes over as far as the mid-game farming efficiency. So I don't imagine S4 is going to have the most fun time, but he also shouldn't be losing this lane. He should be able to hold his own.
Well, now Puppy's rotated up towards the top lane. Blocks out Johnny a little bit here, just harassing with the Fisher for now, but they will make it a safe lane try for Secret, and they really want to prioritize this farm on Arteezy.
Yeah, but still a high so far. Already 7 CS. Your Phoenix is causing some problems as far as his harass goes, and not really guaranteeing complete free farm for the PA.
Not quite. Mid lane, still going the way of the Viper for now. Ketchikimba dominating fairly effectively, keeping S4 locked on his side of the river.
So yeah, both offlaners at least getting decent amounts out of their lane. The Clockwork Zai also just a solo support line, unable to completely zone him out. Also focusing a bit more on going through some early pulls. Looks like potentially Puppy lining up mid lane for a Fisher, but unless Ketchik pushes really far forward, and you can block the ramp.
All right. Fairly quiet so far. Zai, what level is he up to? Level 3 now in this offlane. So as you mentioned, a pretty good time for him. Ohio closing in on level 3 also. Looking at the Axis farm, still quite strong, even with the rotations around to the top lane. He's getting pretty much everything he needs out of this lane. Support Phoenix, though, Johnny, not getting a hell of a lot.
Yep. So for the two teams, it is a pretty sizable early game CS advantage going Malaysia's way. All 3 lanes, they're getting good farm on their core heroes, and that's something Secret have to be a little bit concerned about. The Earthshaker rotations so far have not really amounted to too much, and as a result, we're seeing Secret, at least early game, deficit for them.
Yeah, so far. Oh, wow, almost into the 4 figures already. But they do have the late game secured, at least on paper with this lineup. Team Malaysia have to keep this momentum through the mid game, and that's the tricky part here. Ohio closing in on those Tranquil Boots, has that Ring of Regen. Curious what build this Lesh will go for this game. He went for a lot of tangos, had to chew through most of them so far, just sitting on brown boots. What are you thinking here item-wise?
Probably just your straight Bloodstone. It seems like you want to get as early as possible so you can start racking up the big high charges. And unlike a Storm Spirit who maybe want to stop off a Norkid, Leshrac can just go straight forward. He really wants to tank up as well, so I think that's where it's a big item pickup. Yeah, BKB, Aghanim Scepter, other items that come to mind. Let him get into that front line and be a little less susceptible to all the lockdown. Top Illusion Rune picked up by the Viper, and that'll be a bounty down bottom picked up by Zai. S4 still struggling a little bit here, but with the rune control, he's had time to at least get a couple of CS and get those Necromastery stacks going. All right, so I have to see if the Team Malaysia look to start stacking up their jungle anytime soon for the Axe, but it seems like with the lanes going as well as they are, they don't necessarily need to. They're in no rush. They're winning the lanes because they're keeping their supports in lane. Phoenix is spending more time top, Lion zoning out the Clockwork a bit bottom, so...
Speaking of top, Ohio getting harassed pretty hard here. Puppey comes in with a fissure, but Ohio lands on the other side of it. LSA is on the mark, and RTZ can't do anything about it. And Ohio will be fine.
Yeah, no points in the Blink Strike yet. Not that he probably wanted to blink in there anyways, but for Malaysia, it's just going to be about sitting back, get the Tranquil Regen, kicking in for Ohio, getting back full HP, and every little bit of mana getting thrown out is mana that's not being returned. Ketchikimba in the mid lane, goes in for the kill, he ignores the courier, once S4 will get S4. First blood to your Viper mid.
Very sneaky, nicely done with that wraparound. Smart play to go for the first blood over the courier.
And I think he kind of knew that S4 was not backing off, his crew was going to be coming back, and he was ready to flank him. Top lane, meanwhile, higher in a 1v3 scenario, has the help of the Phoenix with the Fire Spirits. The HP regen, though, is not going to be enough to kick in. Kuro gets low, but...
Yeah, one of the drawbacks of the support Phoenix there. Not really so much Johnny could do to disengage. KYXY does rotate up, Split Earth off the mark, but Puppey taking a lot of damage. That's a level 3 Lightning Storm. Will they be able to find the kill on Puppey, though? It's looking unlikely. Icarus dive down for another 15 seconds, but the Lightning's there, and Puppey dies. Now Arteezy could be in a rocky situation here. He's got the Lina to back him up, throws the dagger, blink forward onto the lash. KYXY goes down, makes it a 1-for-1. Are we done here? It looks like Arteezy will back off as Ohio has come back to the lane.
Meanwhile, mid lane, S4 getting low once again. Viper continuing to be aggressive. S4 will be able to refill his bottle from a Earthshaker
back
TP
up top. Artor, he's in some trouble. Do they actually have the damage here? No, not quite. I think the Tango might be enough. It's going to be close, Parker, and it's not. Arteezy goes down.
He was like 2 HP short maybe of surviving that one. Whew. A lot of aggression in this top lane. Very surprising was the Leshrac TP. KYXY suddenly up there, and trading his life for a support kill was not the outcome he was hoping for.
No, certainly not. But he has picked up Arcane Boots as his first item. You'll see some Leshracs go for early phase boots just to harass a little more in lane and have that movement speed. But here, KYXY wants that mana sustainability.
It does feel like Malaysia getting a lot more out of this early game. Just looking at some of these, like a support Phoenix already level 5 can offer a lot. The Fire Spirit damage as well as just the extra slow you're getting out of it. You've got your Leshrac who, yeah, he dies that one time, but he's at least getting some good farm. But it's just great distribution of levels in farm right now on the Malaysia side. It's not like it's all in on your core heroes. Your support's in a pretty good place. Your Lion's also level 5. On the Secret side, you're just not quite getting those same kind of XP.
Yeah, absolutely. S4, does he have anything to go back to here? Looks like he did have a stack in the jungle, but has cleared it out. He's picked up his power treads now in the mid lane. Starting to recover a little bit, but still feeling the hurt from that early death. And what's Viper looking at here? Looks like he'll be the mech carrier this game. Headdress already in tow. And that'll mean more team fight potential here for Team Malaysia.
Ooh. Some sneaky plays coming out. Ketchikimba, the mid lane's getting nice and tanky here. Has the treads, Ring of Akala, building towards the mech as you'd expect, and just looking to guarantee that he stays kind of nice and bolstered up as far as his HP goes.
All right. Looks like we'll see some movements around the map here. Down bottom, KYXY still just farming away. Up top, Ohio getting very aggressive on this tower. Arteezy all by himself, but now the TP's come in. Ohio, he doesn't seem too scared, but maybe he should be. In the bottom lane, KYXY will get a solo kill onto Zion. Whoa, Axe just gets blown up as Secret rotate. Johnny has an Icarus dive, and he'll use it to safety. Now on the other side of the fight, they get the kill onto Kuro. Looks like Ketchik and Mushi will be able to make it out here perhaps. S4 hasted up, he should be fine.
Yeah, he'll S4 his way back towards the mid lane, and Ketchikimba, decent rotation from him and Mushi. Mushi made a nice little sneaky play. He TP's away from the bottom lane to mid lane, smokes up with the Viper, but fortunately couldn't find a big kill.
So Lesh, TP's out. That was a close call. I went for a point-blank hookshot to interrupt the TP, and that was about half a second short.
Okay.
That's a hookshot on cooldown.
So early game, Viper is definitely winning this mid lane pretty heavily. Getting that one solo kill makes a big difference, not to mention just the kind of free farm Ketchikimba's had here. So he's going to have a very good mech timing. S4 treads one, yet to see what item he's going to be going for. Maybe looking for the mech for his team as well, but that's going to take a lot longer to come online.
Yeah, maybe a necessity here. There isn't really anyone else who can farm the mech in a timely manner. Maybe Zai could look towards it, but it looks like Ern will be in his future with 2 gauntlets already picked up. I think if Malaysia will continue fighting, they'll need that mech to really have a chance in this mid game, or at least a good chance. But at the same time, the Yule Scepter, maybe the slightly better choice for S4 in terms of recovery farm. Once you spam out those raises a little more, clear out stacks, and find that recovery.
Okay, so let's see what the next move is going to be for the two teams. Johnny gets a D-ward off at top lane, so denying Team Secret some much-needed vision here, and they're going to look to rotate heroes in, so Team Secret need to be careful. They're not quite getting the farm they want in their lane, and Malaysia have not got a late-game lamp. They're going to be looking to keep getting aggressive, keep applying pressure on a Team Secret.
Arteezy still trying to find some farm in the safe lane, but it's not so easy for him. Ohio rotating in. Now the smoke gets revealed. They jump on the puppy. He seemed pretty unaware, and they will find an easy kill there. In the lane, Arteezy, slowed down by the battle hunger, will survive for now. Harassing back Kuro and Secret on the back foot. Will just retreat to their tier 2 tower, and I think Malaysia will claim their first tower of this match.
Yeah, this is just not a composition you can fight into at this point. You've got Supernova in play. You've got Finger of Death on your line. 2 big ultimates, and on Secret's side, you haven't got level 6 on either support. Even like Earthshaker's level 3 anyways, and this is just not a hero that, even if he had a level 6, could do all too much. Malaysia are ready to fight constantly now. They've got the Leshrak rotating in. They've got Viper with a double damage rune mech completed. They're just bringing in everything to this top lane. And at this point, Secret are going to have to let probably multiple towers just drop for free.
Well, they'll certainly let the tier 1 up top go down as they rotate towards the mid lane. They put a little pressure on themselves. Do Malaysia go for a tier 2 here? And it looks like they won't. KYXY will TP home after clearing out that creep wave.
Secret just looking to pressure and farm the other lanes where possible. They find a Viper in the mid lane, but I'm not sure that's a hero you really want to try and go on at this point with how tanky he is.
Yeah, absolutely. Down bottom lane, Mushi just trying to leech some XP. He is level 6, soon to be 7 actually, and the quest for that Blink Dagger begins. We've seen some Lions secure a Blink Dagger in that 10 to 15 minute window. Mushi not farming quite as much as he could be perhaps, so Blink Dagger's still pretty far away. But having these early levels is almost as important.
Yeah, absolutely. Just having level 6 already at this point, level 7 even, and see what Malaysia look to do with this. Normally you want to try use that Finger of Death as early as possible, which was the plan at top lane. They just didn't need it to get the 1 kill they got.
Yeah.
Mid lane, meanwhile, Puppy going to be brought down. KYXY, solo kill for him. The TPing and Clockwork missed the hookshot as well.
Oof. Harsh. KYXY, looks like Bloodstone will be on the horizon with that point booster picked up. Soul Ring also in tow, so plenty of mana for him. Going for that Lightning Storm primary build, so spammable now. A few patches ago, it was increased in terms of DPS, damage, and cooldown. Ooh. If you have the mana pool, huge damage output.
Yeah. So Malaysia just going to now pressure the bottom lane with the mech on Viper in the front lanes. Ketchikimba going to bring this tower down low. There is a glyph available on the Secret side, but Doesn't seem to be something they want to go for. Mid lane.
Dire's bottom tower has been denied.
Bottom tower ends up getting denied by the Phantom Assassin. Could have maybe done something else there if they had a hook shot available, but was on cooldown from that whiff in the mid lane just about 40 seconds ago. S4 does move into the mechanism, so it looks like Secret will try to bring some fight here to Malaysia, or at least stand their ground to save their towers. Helps beef up S4, puts him at 11 armor now. He's feeling a little bit more safe.
It really feels like Malaysia just going from tier 1 to tier 1. They go top, then they push out the bottom lane. They've got the Leshrac mid who's just spamming out the lightning to keep the creep lane pushed, but no full commitment yet to try and go for this tier 1 mid tower.
So Gloves of Haste now picked up on the Viper after he's got his treads. Is he thinking
Midas? You
straight
secure
Midas
the late
here?
game, I think.
Okay.
You can get this big kind of... Off of this, I imagine, Malaysia right now, 4,000 net worth lead. If they play things right, they can take down all the outer towers, secure Roshan, get about a 10k gold lead, maybe closer to a 12k gold lead. But that's not going to win them the game. That's not going to allow them to breach high ground. Then they can look to starve out Team Secret, use map control to their advantage, pick up a gem, and use something like a Midas on a Viper to get this Viper to a really scary late game state. So
Okay.
I think it's just a good way of securing the late game now that you've already won the early to mid game. Well, I mean, they haven't won the mid game yet, but they're in a position to do so.
Yeah, I like this style of building the Viper, so you're very tanky early on. We'll hold that thought as S4 gets jumped on trying to clear out his Ancients. He'll use his mech, but I don't think it'll be enough. Certainly not. Ohio gets credit for that one. Now Viper Strike comes out onto Kuro. Zai throws down Power Cogs, but I don't know if they're going to help too much. Supernova secures the kill on Lina. Clockwork falls as well. It's a 3-0, and Team Malaysia erupting with some momentum here, Parker. They'll look towards this tier 1 tower mid.
Yeah, just really nice play. They've been waiting to use the Axe Blink Dagger for some time. They've got all these big, scary items. The mech on the Viper, the Axe Blink Dagger, the Supernova, the Finger of Death, these big spells and items they haven't had a chance to use. So finally we see them come into play, and without a doubt, Malaysia much stronger than Team Secret at this point in time. PA is just quietly farming at the top lane, but that's all RTZ can really do at this point, and do have to worry about Team Secret. They don't have a good answer to this aggression coming out from Malaysia. I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, Arteezy pulling up a lot of gold here in the well into the 4 figures, I should say. And I don't know, what's the play here? Is this a Battle Fury kind of game? Is it just all about survivability? Go for maybe an HOD and just look to get combative?
Normally we see the Battle Fury out from Arteezy. I'm not convinced this is the best Battle Fury game. Maybe just a Helm of the Dominator, stack your Ancients, and
yeah.
Also you can fight pretty well with Helm of the Dominator, but
Yeah, Battle Fury can be a really good combative item. If you have that early edge, the damage boost it gives you actually lets you fight a little bit, but in a situation like this, he's just going to get blown up. There's just too much damage. You jump in on that Lesh, Pulse Nova is going to come out, you hit by the Lightning, Diabolic Edict. I mean, maybe just an early BKB could be what he looks at, but at the same time, Malaysia have a lot of counters to the BKB. Viper Strike, Axe, and everything he brings to the table. Blink Hex eventually when that's a possibility on the line. Looks like it'll be delayed even further as now Mushi making a detour into what looks like a medallion.
Ooh, interesting little pickup. I guess we're going to have some ways to secure an early Roshan. Talked about their general game plan of taking all the outer towers, taking Roshan, getting map control, but taking Roshan is not something that this lineup does well at all, so getting a medallion, a nice time to do that.
S4 walks right into Ohio. He's hiding in the tree line. Ketchik there as well. S4 will fall. Can't even get off the double Requiem. Zai hook shots in. Now he'll just try to TP out. No Berserker's Call, and he will indeed survive. But they get that high-value target, the Shadow Fiend, in the grave for 40 seconds.
Yeah, just no good way of... This is a game where this Clockwork is going to struggle for the rest of this game. He can't really counter-initiate because...
He's too weak.
He's too weak. His team as a whole is too weak. He goes in with that hook shot, and it's like, well... All he can do is watch Shadow Fiend die and then hope he doesn't die himself. If he doesn't have a TP there, that's just 2 kills going Malaysia's way, so... It doesn't really feel like there's any good follow-up to a Clockwork hookshot. The Lina's playing from behind. Earthshaker's just a roaming fissure at this point. The Echo Slam is not something we're likely to see come into play at all this game, at least not for some time, so...
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
Well, Arteezy will go for the Battle Fury. See that broadsword already picked up in the inventory, so he wants to find some kind of recovery farm. And speaking of big items, a Leshrac already with the Bloodstone. Great timing on that. Sitting on brown boots for now. Did disassemble the Arcanes, but the snowball begins.
Yeah, XII, he's in a pretty scary place on this hero, so... We talked about how this hero can struggle if he doesn't get all the big tanky items up, if he doesn't get the Bloodstone, the BKB, Ags, whatever it may be. But when you're this far ahead of your opponents, you're looking pretty smooth.
Yeah. There's going to be a long window here where XII is just a hop and a skip ahead of Team Secret. We'll see a couple of Midases picked up, one on the Viper, as we talked about. think that's the smart choice. And Phoenix, no surprise there, but Johnny will secure Midas at a pretty good timing, 17 minutes, about on par.
Yeah, so at this point, a lot of your lead kind of gets negated by these Midases in a sense. You've got a 5,000 net worth lead, but you've just spent 4,000 on Midases, so as far as actually fighting items go, you're kind of on par, but Malaysia's team fight composition and just their general hero structure right now can take any fight they want. They're not worried about getting items to allow them to fight now, because Secret PA is not going to offer anything in a fight. Earthshaker, similar story, Beyond the Fissure is not really doing too much, and the SF is also really struggling.
Yeah, Secret starting to split up the lanes a little bit here. As they do rotate down, looks like they will reveal this Roche. Rocket Flare comes out, Ohio initiates though. Laguna Blade cuts down the line straight away. Egg in a very aggressive position. The Supernova will not go off, but still, it forces Secret to focus it. And now the damage comes out. KYXY in the front line, still alive. Ohio with a beautiful Berserker's Call. Dies to the Death Requiem, but a pretty good fight for Team Malaysia. Yeah. A lot of heroes in the grave.
And Malaysia didn't actually play that one amazingly well. The Axe initial blink call went in. Finger did not come out from the line in time. Line got taken out too fast, and Malaysia definitely showed that they are a bit on the squishy side there, but
dead even trade, 4 for 4. Both sides getting about 1K in net worth gain there. So break even, but I guess you really call it a victory for Secret as they did stop the Roche.
Yeah, and for Secret, as far as the difference between the two teams goes, that kind of at least gets some of their key heroes up to a better place. The PA especially now completed Battle Fury for Artur. This is going to help out his farm a lot right now, allowing him to farm jungle, push out lanes a lot faster. And Team Malaysia have to be a little bit concerned about a fight, even if it was even on net worth exchange.
Yeah, exactly. Not a lot of stacks for Artur to chew through, but can very easily close this gap. Lesh and Viper both at about 8.7k net worth, a little shy of that 9k mark, and RTZ will just start farming. Puppy also now level 7 on the Earthshaker, so finally getting some much-needed experience. Mid lane, though, S4 jumped on, smoke rotation will catch him unaware, and another kill.
That was smart. The Secret team thought they were going back into Roshan there. They started positioning 3-4 heroes in the bottom lane by the tier 2 tower, but it wasn't Roche, it was mid lane. They're looking for the kill first.
Another pitiful Death Requiem there from S4 with only 11 souls in tow.
Secret scout this one out. They did have the Rocket Flare in the pit, but
yep, they're positioned pretty well. Hook shot in. Aegis does get picked up by the Clockwork. Dyer also gets the last hit on Roche.
Oh, but what a cold stun coming out from KYXY into the high ground. They're going to kill everyone here. Doesn't matter if you take Roshan and Aegis. You're about to get team wiped. Yep. Zai going to be the last to fall. Loses the Aegis as well. TZ, nowhere to be seen. It wasn't a fight he wanted to take any part in, and with good reason.
Wow. Seemed like a big play at first, but in the end, definitely not worth it for Secret.
It was a big play, and I think it was like, okay, you take the Aegis, and then everyone else gets out, but Axe, Ohio's initiation onto the high ground was just perfect. That was what Malaysia needed. Leshak followed up with a good split earth, lightning storm, and from there, Secret didn't stand a chance of getting out of there alive.
He's been finding great Berserker calls all game, even in that last fight before the Roshan. He was just right on point. As soon as it seemed like his Lesh was going to die, he hopped in, caught the taunt, and then that gave Lesh the little bit of time he needed to do the damage and win him the team fight. So not too bad for Malaysia when it's all said and done. Still holding on to a decent gold lead, kind of plateaued a little bit, and we'll see where they go from here. Still all the tier 2 towers standing for Secret, and they have lost a little bit of momentum on that front. Tier 1 towers, pretty easy to take down, but this is where it gets a little more difficult. They need to choose their fights pretty wisely. Ketchik feeling the effects of that. Hand of Midas goes for a Yasha, another great farming tool here.
The one thing I think Malaysia probably realized right now is they're not really snowballing off of their big, like level 6s, as well as just these. Going from tower to tower, taking Roshan has not really gone as smoothly as they would have liked. Secret have completely negated the gold gain that was going Malaysia's way. They've got some key kills, and just looking at the top 4 farmers, both teams with their big 2 carries are pretty close to each other. It's not really much of a lead going the way of the Leshrak Viper over the PA Shadow Fiend. So while Malaysia as a whole has this gold lead going, doesn't really feel like Shadow Fiend and PA have been shut down, despite having 5 deaths on the Shadow Fiend. S4 is up there, just shortly behind the Leshrak and Viper, and these are much scarier late game heroes.
Oh, absolutely. And now the Shadow Fiend has picked up the Yule's Scepter, so S4 can farm a little more effectively, push out these lanes. Somewhat comparable to the Battle Fury that Arteezy has picked up. So now both of them can find some recovery. Even though there are 2 Hands of Midases on Malaysia, they still might be able to make this happen. Mushi gets initiated on by Zai. The follow-up is there, and it's an easy kill on the Lion. And they find a counter kill here. Fissure comes out, pushes back Ketchik, and Zai will just TP
Top lane, though. They've run into Arteezy. He's picked up a no-clip to make him a bit tanky, but higher. We'll get him with the blink call. Not sure they have the damage to get him low enough to get into that dunk rate. They're trying to Sunray him down with the Leshrac showing up. That'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
And possibly going in for more here. Kuro and Puppy show up in a kind of a bad place here, but higher. No Blink Ball available.
Another good rotation from KYXY now in the bottom lane. S4 tries to TP home, and he will. Ketchik doing a lot of damage, but can't quite bring him down fast enough, and of course, no way to stop that TP home. Back up top, Puppy initiated on by KYXY. Throws out a fissure, but can KYXY actually make something happen here? Out comes the Berserker's call into Kuro after he uses the Yules, and that'll cost him his life. Killing spree now for KYXY. Zai comes in, power cogs down. He'll be all right.
Just up to 15 Bloodstone charges already. This is just... That's the one good thing going Malaysia's way. They're getting these kills, they're winning the fights for the most part. Even if Secret are getting trades in terms of farm for the PA elsewhere on the map, you're just constantly boosting up your Leshrac's late game potential. You're going to have boots of travel and a BKB momentarily. And that's probably where Malaysia can look to go back to that snowball. Take the tier 2 towers, which they've yet to really touch, despite the big early game start they had.
Yeah. You know, I haven't really been keeping a close eye on Mushi's medallion, but has he been using it aggressively or defensively? I feel like putting that buff on Lesh is actually really powerful here. He's now going to go BKB after Bloodstone. His weak point is at only 7 armor, but if you can double that with a medallion, all of a sudden, KYXY is this really tanky horse.
Yeah. The few times, I think he hasn't had a chance to use it too much because Mushi's actually been caught out a few times. We saw him in mid lane, we saw him earlier on, so there hasn't been that big team fight, but I totally agree. I think using that defensively onto the Leshrac in the front lines is a great way to use this, even on the Axe in the front lines, because once his Berserker's call wears off, he may be going down fast, so...
Yeah, he's reasonably low armor himself, 6 space with the +4 from the Tranquils. BKB up on the Axe, as well as now completed on the Lesh. And Ohio did steal that invisibility rune down bottom from Zai, who was trying to grab it. Malaysia looking for some openings here, but Secret well aware of the invisible axe and will react accordingly.
It just seems like Malaysia always just kind of that one kind of crucial mid-game item ahead of their opponents here. They've got the BKB now in Ohio, building towards the, what I imagine is a Mantis down the Viper end.
Oh, Berserker's call up top, missed on Puppy. But now the Phoenix comes in, Icarus dive across, Fire Spirits come out. Do they actually have the damage here? They certainly do with the Finger of Death. And Mushi finds a little bit of vengeance and gets another one up on the scoreboard.
So it looks like they may swing now towards this top tier 2 tower. They've already got 4 heroes up there and could consider bringing in the Viper as well with the creep wave now en route. There's just no one who can really fight the Leshrac unless you can initiate and chain stun him using the hook shot. Because you can't set him up with a Yule Scepter. He'll just BKB out of the LSA after the Yules goes through, so you've got to be able to chain stun him from range if you want to try and bring down the Leshrac.
Yeah, very tricky, and he's got this support team behind him where, even though Axe has been very aggressive, sometimes your best defense is a good offense, and that's exactly what Ohio's been doing. Lesh runs in, and the Axe is able to take some of the heat and open up some more damage potential. Ketchikimba pulling up a lot of gold on this Viper. Haven't seen any pickups since the Yasha. We'll see where he goes next. A lot of options for him this game.
I feel like he may even just consider BKB as well. They can just 5-man so well around this. They can look to take the fight and take the next Roshan and Aegis. As an answer to the Clockwork Earthshaker, the Shadow Fiend, most of the Shadow Fiend's damage output at this point is magical in a team fight, so I think a BKB for Viper could be a well-advised item.
Tier 2 tower in the mid lane, taking a lot of pressure. Malaysia continuing to rub a little salt in the wound as well, Secret will lose one more. That makes it 4-1, or pardon me, 4-2 in total tower count. RTZ trying to split push in the bottom lane, still finding some decent space to farm. Looks like he may be looking at a BKB himself with Ogre Club in tow. Farming very nicely, but Malaysia starting to tighten the noose a little bit by taking objectives.
Yeah, Secret not really ready to farm until at least PA has BKB. Gets hexed up at bottom lane, going for the tier 2 tower, maybe getting too greedy. The second TP coming in is going to be an Axe, and RTZ going to try turn and fight the call, going to pull him back in. Finger of Death, here comes your dunk. RTZ goes down, getting too greedy. Does buy and spend his money before he goes down at least.
Big rotation from both sides. Secret, they want vengeance. They burst down the Axe with the Laguna Blade, but Malaysia, they've got support here. There's your BKB on KYXY. Secret will Delta split, and it looks like most of them will make it out. Kuro will TP home. Puppy, low on mana, does have a lot of stick charges. He'll make it out as well. So ends up being a 1-for-1 Axe for PA. Good little trade there for Secret.
Yeah, not bad. And considering PA doesn't actually lose money there, it's it's pretty good, I'd say. From here, Team Secret, I still feel like taking fights is going to be difficult. Even with BKB's complete on core heroes, not sure they'll do amazingly well. You've got a level 3 Viper Strike, Berserker's Call to go through BKBs as well, and the big hero that's been problematic is the Leshrac, whose damage output you can negate outside of the Diabolic Edict, which is not really the problem spell from Leshrac.
Yeah, didn't put a lot of points in it early. It's maxed out now as he's level 16, but the damage is, it just tickles, really. 2 BKBs now out on Secret, and could be the beginning of the turn. The gold lead not quite insurmountable, very notable for Malaysia, getting close to the metrics you were throwing out earlier in terms of the mid-game. Now is when it gets a little bit more difficult, where they need to take these objectives and need to look towards trying to break high ground sooner rather than later at this point. 30 minutes is roughly when the carries, like your Shadow Fiend, your PA, will really start to take over the game.
Yeah. And even outside of breaking high ground, just putting Secret in a position where they can't leave their base. Take out all these towers, ward aggressively, get a gem, force Secret just to sit in their own base, get very little as far as farm goes on the map. But right now, Malaysia can't really split push the lanes too well without fear of getting picked off by heroes like Clockwork, like Lina. So as a result, Secret are actually keeping multiple lanes pushed out really well, and Malaysia kind of spending too much time on one side of the map whenever they go for these pushes.
Yeah, they'll get that tier 2 down bottom, and we'll see how they react as it looks like just one TP's top. They will push back the lanes for now. No way they're going to be able to break high ground off any kind of push like this. Secret being very cautious here.
Bottom lane, they went in. They bring down Lina, they're looking for Xayah as well. Secret of TP back down to take this fight. High just going to BKB TP. KYXY probably thinking something similar here.
He does have BOTs up now. BKB on cooldown. He'll move into the tree line, and he will make it out.
Okay. Decent pickoff. That was looking kind of dicey for Malaysia. You had Mushi at top lane, who almost got initiated on, and then bottom lane.
Yeah.
It was kind of a 4v5 fight, one Secret TP'd back, but
really good positioning from Mushi, finding this little cubby in the trees here so that they couldn't initiate on him easily, and Malaysia ended up getting a kill and a lot of TPs back out of that. So very good trade for them overall.
From here, they're going to kind of be forced to go into this late game state. Doesn't feel like they've got the heroes who can independently split push to allow them to take full control of the map. Going to have to just gear up towards Viper reaching ultra late game status. Even some of these other core heroes. Leshrac has already picked up an ulti orb, so a possible Scythe of Vice coming out for KYXY.
Yeah, feels pretty likely at this point. Still on 16 Bloodstone charges. Talked about the BOTs. Now he's just a little bit more mobile in general. Aside from the buffed up TP scroll, it also is just a great item on Lesh for the movement speed. We've talked about how he wants to be up in their faces and makes him a little more difficult to get away from now.
There's definitely going to be some concerns from Malaysia about how they plan on ending this game, because Secret are just sitting back, soaking up the pressure, getting their farm on, and Shadow Fiend and PA still keeping kind of close enough that they're in fighting distance here. This next Roshan could be a key focal point for both teams. We'll have to see if Secret give it up, whether they look to contest it, whether the Aegis is something that will allow Malaysia to push high ground, because that's the one thing. If you suddenly get a good 5-man push going where the lanes aren't being pushed out by Secret, you could find a high ground siege with Aegis suddenly take a lane of Rax.
Well, Roshan gets scouted out. Zai did throw a rocket flare into the pit, but it seems like Secret not too interested in this one.
Yeah, I think they're confident in their ability to just split push lanes and defend high ground as needed here.
Great positioning here from Malaysia as well. Anticipating a hook shot could be coming in to snatch the Aegis, positioning so that it's not going to be so easy. Zai finds Ohio. Looks like he interrupted a TP on his way back. Meanwhile, in the mid, KYXY in some trouble. BKB on, and that'll be enough to ensure his survival. Icarus dive across. Now the rest of Secret just trying to make their retreat. Arteezy does make it out as Johnny blinks forward.
That's a precious 10-second BKB from him. I don't think, at this point, the BKB durations on Secret much more important than your Malaysia heroes. As far as, that's what's going to allow Malaysia to stand a chance in the late game, is having short BKBs on heroes like PA, like Shadow Fiend. TZ, that was his 10-second one, went for the Leshrac kill, which would have just been the Aegis pop, and doesn't even get it, so.
Yeah, Ketchikimba still hanging on to his 10-second BKB charge as well. He's even been pretty active in fights, 4-0 and 8, just hasn't had a lot of pressure on him. Really hasn't found himself in a situation where the mech was not sufficient. Mushi still not looking towards a Blink Dagger, a much different take on the Lion build. We talked about the Medallion, but now Ghost Scepter, his next item pickup. A pretty pricey one, and could basically have his Blink now if that's what he wanted.
Yeah, I think he's almost playing too much of that hard 5-position support right now, because if you're split pushing on Team Secret, the only hero you have to kind of keep tabs on is the Axe. That Blink Call is the one thing that can punish you when you're split pushing. With no blink on your line, it's just one less hero to be worried about.
Absolutely. So everyone just trying to farm around the map as efficiently as possible. Down bottom, they find S4, a smoke from Malaysia, but Ohio blinks a little bit short and can't catch him with the Berserker's Call. S4 will try to TP out. Do they have any kind of stun? They do. The Hex is there from Mushi, and S4 is certain to go down. Finger of Death to make it secure. Mushi will get another one.
Still, it felt like S4 could have escaped that one. If he wanted to BKB TP, it would have worked with the Berserker's Call on cooldown, and that's one of those moments where Lion not having a blink almost cost Malaysia a kill there, because his blink Hex initiation range is much longer than Ohio's. Ohio sees Shadow Fiend, but he's like, if I get close enough to blink call, I may pop the smoke. And at that point, Shadow Fiend gets out of there, or at least potentially could look to counter-initiate with like an offensive Yule Scepter or something. So it does feel like this line really needs a blink at some point this game. But Mushi, after that kill, up to 1,200 gold, should still be looking at a pretty okay timing on this blink.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's not something that ever gets bad. Blink Hex initiation will be good until the 60-minute plus stage of this game if it ends up going that long. And if it does, it'll definitely be a necessity. Meanwhile, in the top lane, RTZ does get a tier 2 tower as Team Malaysia look towards the high ground.
They're looking to commit to this.
All right, Aegis in tow on the Leshrac. 16 Bloodstone charges, BKB at the ready. Glyph comes out straight away from Team Secret, but now this tower will be exposed. Diabolic Edict doing good damage, down to about 50%. Malaysia doing this very cautiously.
Top tower is under attack.
Making sure not to overcommit and just doing whatever chip damage to the tower they can. We'll take a look at what little vision they have right now. They see S4 and RTZ. No wards up on the high ground.
And Puppey ready to go was smoked up, hoping for a good blink initiation, but Malaysia just playing things slow, sitting back and still looking to commit to this one. As Secret have seen, there's no one TPing back top lane, no one defending, pushing things out up there, so Malaysia really want to go for this. While they've got the Aegis in hand, they've still got about a minute and a half left to go. They're just going to keep going high ground with the Edict.
And there it is, this tier 3 tower goes down. Viper gets the last hit, and they ping out the melee barracks, a sign that they want to stick around, go for the riskier barracks as it will regen. They get it down to about half health.
XII can just Edict BKB this down if he really wants to. Next Edict that's up, but
here we go. Berserker's Call initiation onto Curl from Ohio. BKB's popped aplenty as Malaysia goes in. There's your egg off to the side. S4 will channel an ulti. Lina, the first one to go down, and now they focus S4. Ketchuk Imba, initiated on by Zai, but he just gets melted. Seems like Secret just don't have the resources for it. Lina will buy back. RTZ low, tries to blink strike back, but he goes down. Now Puppey slowed up, in some trouble. Yules will lock the Lesh in place. Okay.
Back to the focus of the racks here. There's still no Glyph, and XII full HP. He did die once. Can they kill him a second time? Laguna Blade available, but nice full stuff. Gets him out of danger, and Malaysia now have an option. They can look to re-engage, but PA buying back is going to possibly deter them from going back in. And
yeah, Lina buying back as well. Very costly hold for Secret. They do indeed hold their barracks. Melee and range still standing, but they have to pay some of that hard-earned money for it. RTZ did pick up a Skull Basher before that fight really started. Also has the Morbid Mask for some casual regen, but looking towards the Abyssal or any kind of an upgrade, even just into the HOD now, and it'd be a little less timely.
Yep.
Also, Scythe of Vice up on KYXY.
And fresh pickups all over the place for Malaysia, just more and more income, and we're seeing the power. The big thing that team fight to me was the Supernova. No one even tried to kill the Supernova. I don't think they should have either. It was just like, it was right in the middle of things. If your PA or whoever stops focusing other heroes to kill the Supernova, you're probably losing the fight. At the same time, that Supernova stun in the end caught 3 heroes, including a BKB PA, and that was a big problem for Secret. That Supernova just could not be dealt with, was in the perfect spot, and Malaysia had all the answers ready for Team Secret.
Oh, this Viper, so farmed right now. Finds another big item pickup, and boy, is it a big one.
Seems going to look to switch their attention elsewhere on the map now. Great vision coming out from Malaysia. They bought a gem, I believe, which is, yeah, on the Phoenix at the time being. So Dire Vision somewhat limited because of this, but at the same time, Secret do have some pretty good wards up all over the map.
And it looks like Phoenix will be going for a Shiva's Guard, but we'll hold that thought as mid lane. Ohio BKB initiates in onto Kuroki. Now they find S4. He gets hexed up. Will now pop the BKB. They focus the egg, and they will find the kill there. Now Ketchuk Imba goes on to Puppey, uses the Viper Strike. Does he actually find this kill? He does. He gets a double as the Lina goes down also. Looks like the Shadow Fiend falls off to the side as we watch Ketchik and Arteezy duel it out. Looks like Arteezy might get the better of him here. Another nice Force Staff keeps him safe. Now they reinitiate. Slow him down with the Lightning, Berserker's Call, and it's a 4-0. Not even a trade as Malaysia just run over Team Secret.
They've just got such a big advantage right now. That was, again, not the most well-executed fight. They missed a few things there. KYXY didn't hit his stun on the hexed up Shadow Fiend, so Shadow Fiend got his BKB off. All these things didn't even matter in the end, as Malaysia just used sheer item advantage and just this really scary team fight of theirs to great effect.
And an abysmal buyback status here for Secret. They had to burn a couple in the last fight. Shadow Fiend is already bought back. This will be a bottom lane burst at the very least. Maybe even more for Team Malaysia. No glyph for another minute or so. And no, they'll back out. They'll play this one safe.
Still a long time left on this PA respawn if they want to keep applying pressure. But it looks like top lane is where Leshrac is going to TP, and KYXY says, let's get some tier 2s. You know, let's work on some of these next couple of objectives as needed.
Man, you thought this Lesh was farmed before. Gets a huge net worth bump out of that whole trade, and still a good bit ahead of Arteezy, hovering around 15K with this Lesh sitting at nearly 21. Next item, what's on the courier here? Oh, plate mail for him. I think probably the Assault Cuirass on the Lesh, and then we'll look towards that Shiva's coming out on the Phoenix. So getting the best of both worlds here, and finding some aura items.
Yeah. Even double Shiva's not the worst thing in the world, but we'll see how things want to pan out here as Malaysia ready to either secure the next Roshan and go for high ground once more, or I think more than anything, just happy to take any team fight Secret present to them. Secret just have not got the best team fight composition right now to tackle what Malaysia are bringing to the table. Axe, Phoenix, Leshrac, Viper with his current set of items is just doing way too much damage.
Second Force Staff comes out for Malaysia, one on the Axe, now one on Mushi's Lion. So not the blink that we were talking about, but still a mobility tool.
Yeah.
A little more versatile.
It's across the board. Malaysia have all the items they really need to take any upcoming fights. 20 Bloodstone charges for KYXY. This is a serious issue. It's a free Aegis at this point. He goes into a team fight, he dies, he's got an instant respawn, can Boots travel back in, and as a result, you could theoretically be going for pushes before this next Roshan if you want to, but
yeah, this is exactly the way you have to play a position 1 core Lesh. You need to get that momentum and then work as a team to just never give it up. And if you can do that, then, well, 20 Bloodstone charges at 40 minutes is certainly quite scary. Secret still trying to find what little farm they can.
So Malaysia have to say about that one. Rocket Flare looking to do some scouting here, but Malaysia waiting and ready.
Oh, the smoke gets popped by Ohio. Catches Berserker's Call on 2. Zai grabs KYXY inside of the cogs. Requiem goes off. Puppy will be the first to go down. It looks like Malaysia could still possibly take this fight. The Supernova goes off as well. Yule's onto S4. Beautiful stun from Mushi on 2. Finger to bring down S4. They'll lose the Phantom Assassin as well, but Rubik as well. Why did I say Rubik? The Phoenix as well as the Axe get taken out. A 2-for-4 trade in the end. Not the worst
Zai
for Secret, but now Mushi gets isolated by Zai. The cogs actually push him away. Almost Liz with the Force Staff will finish him off.
Zai wanted that gem. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to find it. Not a bad fight for Secret. Axe played that fight ridiculously well, though. The PA accidentally kind of blinked into him, which led to that initial 2-hero call. He got the Force Staff to the high ground as well, and he just stayed alive and was oh so elusive, but still a decent-ish fight for Secret as far as at least trades go, but
yeah, decent-ish, but the net worth graph is telling a different story here, Parker. Yeah. 25K XP and net worth, the lead for Malaysia right now.
And KYX were not dying, so suddenly he's at 24 Bloodstone charges, as if 20 wasn't enough before.
There you go. Basically unlimited mana at this point. I don't think he can just leave Pulse Nova turned on, but he's getting close to that point.
Just looking to force out a glyph or something top
positioning
lane.
Here, yeah. Forcing out a glyph would be a big victory. Puppy uses an Echo Slam on the Singleton creep.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh. Less than ideal, to say the least. Lesh put inside of the Yules, but will BKB as he comes down, turns onto Kuro, puts him into the piggy form, and does huge damage. Force Staff will keep Kuro alive for now, but now Zai could be in some trouble. Point blank hook shot, Laguna Blade, KYXY. He is one tanky pony.
He's actually getting out of here, too. Oh, boy. As if more things couldn't go wrong for Secret. Puppy was looking for the Blink Echo on the Leshrac. His Blink wasn't even cancelled by the looks of things. After I clicked him right out as it happened.
Just a misclick. Just a unfortunate set of circumstances. Oh boy. Now Ohio, he's got some item progression as well. It just keeps getting better and better for Team Malaysia at this point. You see the itemization just continuing to improve, and you look at the Secret inventories and feeling pretty stagnant here. Not really much progression.
Yeah, this is a problematic item, especially for your PA. Talked about that BKBs now how important they can be, so from Max's point of view, well, now he's just got 2 ways to lock the PA down in the fight.
Rocket Flare scouts out Roche, but look at this. Ohio intercepts their train as it heads to the Roche pit. Looks like the rest of the team will come up. Power Cogs to kind of break things up a little bit here. RTZ blinks forward very aggressively, gets a bash on KYXY. Now the BKBs are used. Phantom Assassin just gets blown up as 4 channels of Requiem now on the run. Is BKB about to expire? Zai puts some Cogs down to try and break up the fight. Ohio almost goes down, but just barely lives.
Oh, and he blinks out as well. S4 couldn't find him. Now he's trapped in the corner. He's going to go down. KYXY just leading his team to kill after kill. Beyond godlike. Nothing can stop him at this point.
And Puppy could go down here as well. TP to Cardi. Ketchik, he's going to find that, and oh boy. Secret probably close to tapping out at this point. The golden experience graph getting worse and worse. Roche 3 should go the way of Malaysia this go-around.
Kind of what you talk about. A lot of teams just time and time again underestimate this Malaysian cohort. They deliver results on LAN especially. This is where these players have shined in the past. Ohio, KYXY, and Mushi especially on past RNG sports teams have just dominated when people didn't really expect the team to be dominant.
And now KYXY just heads straight to the top lane. He is the one to pick up the Shiva's guard here. Not the Phoenix, still hanging on to that plate mail. There is a glyph for Secret, so that'll help him out a little bit. They'll use it straight away. Both supports coming up very soon here. Lina will respawn, Puppy up in just a couple of seconds. Looks like they will lose a tier 3 tower, though, before the fight even breaks out. Mid-tier 3, the last one standing for the Dire. As KYXY focuses down the ranged barracks, going for the sure damage here. Pops the Edict, and Secret in a lot of trouble. The Sierra part here as well is even though they're coming up, their buybacks still not in the best of situations.
Yeah, and you can't even be falling back on buybacks at this point. So for Secret, it's you buy all you can. Your PA, you buy your Bristle Blade as soon as possible. Your SF, you want to be buying whatever items are available to you. If you have to buy back at this point, suddenly this 25k net worth lead is suddenly becoming a 30k net worth lead. You've got to win fights much more cleanly if you want to kind of turn this game around now with 4 racks down.
Way to stay positive, Parker. Still hoping that RTZ can get an Abyssal Blade this game.
I mean, maybe he buys a Midas. That'd be the RTZ way.
There's a chance. Ever so slightly, but there's a chance. Now the tier 3 tower in mid under assault. Remember, there's no glyph here, so KYXY can kind of slow siege this, utilize the Edict. He's in the front lines, has the Aegis of the Immortal with the 27 Bloodstone charges, can come back to life twice. Now Zai hookshots in, Ketchik Imba gets pushed into the base, but Ohio's right there to follow up. He's got the Berserker's call, Ketchik Imba eats the cheese, he goes right back up to where he was. Lina the first to fall, now RTZ in a lot of trouble, he'll go down. Ohio off to the side, will fall to S4, a 1 for 2 to get things started, but the tier 3's gone down. Malaysia will just focus the structures. They can clear out this lane of barracks, it will be mega creeps, and that will squander most hope that Secret has at this point. KYXY still looking pretty healthy here, has the Aegis of the Immortal. There's your Supernova on the backside. S4 without a BKB gets hexed up. He will get stunned, and this could be the end of him. Puppy gets stunned up as well. Shadow Fiend falls, so does the Earthshaker, and that's the GG call. It's Team Malaysia that takes game 1 in this best of 3, 44-14.
Absolutely dominant. 31 Bloodstone charges on KYXY at the end of this game. This is the true power and potential of a core Leshrac all across the board though. Malaysia just knew when to teamfight, knew when to push, secured a good late game by getting a couple of Midases on the Viper as well as the Phoenix. On top of that, they had that one kind of first Roshan fight which looked maybe a little bit shaky, but they came back and managed to just smoothly put together a game 1 victory.
Yeah. Very few mistakes in terms of what their cores did. Ketcha Imba had lived up to his name, a bit Imba in that regard. 12-0-17. Very impressive showing on the Viper. And you know, you talked about that mid lane matchup where Shadow Fiend should eventually start to take over, but that just seemed to never happen. They killed S4 a few too many times. There weren't any stacks for him to retreat to in the jungle, and felt like the Shadow Fiend was just playing catch up the entire game and could never really quite do it.
Yeah, that one kill just made such a world of difference because at one point it was 4,500 net worth on Viper, 3,000 on Shadow Fiend, and if that kill doesn't happen, it's probably more like 4,000 to 4,500. It would be a much more even 1v1 there, but just one really nice individual play from Ketchik, and that's all you needed.
But remember, it's only game 1. This is a best-of-3 series. This is one of the opening round matchups, so the loser of this match will still have a chance to fight their way through the lower bracket. But can you imagine Secret going down 0-2 in the opening round? What an upset that would be.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more interesting round 1 matchups, especially now with Malaysia coming out and taking game 1. I kind of said a bit at the start, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Malaysia victory. This team is just always underestimated.
Yeah, well, we'll see what they can do coming up in Game 2. Stick with us, folks. We're going to take a quick break, then come back, break down this series.
esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone.
We have over 200,000 users registered.
Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.